Decent cup of coffee. Like it? Welcome back, folks. It's the Bro. It's the Friday edition of the show. What's a cook's favorite day of the week? Friday. And a tailor's favorite day of the week is tie day. An introvert's favorite day of the week is shy day. But this version of the show is Friday. Thanks for joining me here on the morning show for you folks today. Yabba dabba doo. Let's get ready to slide down that dinosaur's tail. We've got a show for you folks this morning who love Magic the Gathering. So thanks for you for tuning in. The beautiful people who love the game as much as we do. If you like tracking the prices of Magic cards, let me do it for you. I'm doing it in the mornings, weekdays. Here on the channel, we'll bring you some Magic the Gathering news articles, a little bit of shop talk. Let me know what you got up to here this week. How is it going? Do you have a good one? Man, is it cold outside. Almost can't stand it. Double long johns yesterday. Double long johns. It's got to be pretty cold to double up on the long johns. I'm sad to say I had to do it. Nevertheless, let's get warmed up here real nice before we get right into things. We'll check out some AI generated Magic cards. Let me go over the rules for you folks here, just tuning in for the first time. All right. Is it your first time here? Have you come to the show before? No. All right. Well, let me tell you how it works. We're going to look at some AI generated Magic cards. If the card's got any gibberish on it whatsoever, we fail it. You're going to hear this sound. That's the sound of the buzzing, cousin. All right. And if it's a half decent card, if it's somewhat playable, even if it's a little bit overcosted, if it's overpowered or underpowered, as long as it doesn't have gibberoony, it makes sense. It meets all the criteria of a Magic card. It's got a casting cost, creature type, all that good stuff. You're gonna hear this sound. No, that's not the sound. Let's try that again. You're gonna hear this sound. The dinger. All right, well, let's get ready to ding here, and we'll do the thing when we do the Magic show on the Morning Magic the Gathering stock show here. Taking a look at this card right here. What do we got? Coal Stampede. Is it the Stampede that turns these pieces of coal into jewels? Perhaps. But we got a 3-mana artifact. All sliver creatures get +1/+1. Oh, is that what we needed in this day and age? Is more sliver support? Jeez Louise. So it's an anthem for slivers. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color that a player doesn't control. 1 mana of any color that a player doesn't control. All right, well, let's fail it. Seems kind of gibbery, right? Get it out of here. You're done, Coal Stampede. Don't mind the fact that it's an anthem. Seems okay, but problem is the second part here. Add 1 mana of any color that a player doesn't control. I guess it could be. All right, we've made our decision. Time to vote on it. Let me see. Fair, OP, underpowered, non-functional. Junk text, gibberish. Am I ready to throw this in the junk text bin? It's possible. I'm sort of leaning that way here this morning on the. Okay, do it. No. Other people give it a fair. I guess they interpreted this as a color what? Add 1 mana of any color permanent that a player doesn't control, right? Except this could be really bad if there's a color permanent of every color out there, then it does nothing. Just an anthem for slivers. I say it's a little bit gibberishy. So do 17.6% of people also agree with the Brody. 9% of people say this is OP. Oh, finally, we got the mountain. Nice. Well, this is a beauty. This is the art series of AI generated lands. We saw the island. I really liked the island. What did we yesterday? Saw Swampy, maybe. We saw one of them. We keep seeing one each and every couple of days. This one, land, basic, yes, basic land type. Basically, this is a land, a mountain. Taps for a red. Full art. We can pass it. There's nothing wrong with this. Do we have to rate it? No, because everybody knows that, well, it's pretty hard to screw up a land unless it's got some like creature type on it. Come a long way since last year doing this. Let's take a look at this sucker right here. All right. Spear witches. These are the cutest little bird spider. That's a pretty cute name for a creature type. Bird spider. Meow meow. Meow meow. The bird. Bird is the word. Legendary bird. 3/4. It needs to fly. Please fly, birdies. Fly. Let the butterflies fly with this Spear witches. 2 white and 1 for a 3/4 legendary creature. Bird sold. No, bird spider. I don't know. Birds. You got 2 birds and a spider. This is the cutest magic card ever. Tap. Target land you control becomes a copy of target creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact creature and enchantment creature with power and toughness each equal to its mana value. Target land you control? Okay, so far so good. I think it checks out. It passes the sniff test, right? Target land you control becomes a copy of target creature you control. So land becomes a creature until end of turn, except it's an artifact creature and an enchantment creature with power and toughness each equal to its mana value. Whenever Spear witches blocks or becomes blocked by a green creature, destroy that creature. Wow. I'm going to pass this. This thing's so darn good. Okay, so now we're going to have to vote on it, right? So it's going to be like the fair, OP, underpowered, and non-functional. I'm thinking a lot of people are going to say this is OP, but I'm going to just give it a straight up fair. Fair. Fairness, squareness, and who doesn't careness about this card? Nothing. Nothing is nothing. This is basically what WotC employees heading up to the boss's office to get their raise. They're like, please, sir, may I have a raise? And then they just hand you a copy of this card. Nothing. For a green and 1, you can do nothing. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put a land card from among them into your hand. At instant speed, you can do nothing. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Well, that seems like something. Put a land card from among them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. That seems just fine. Doesn't seem like nothing. I actually did comment on this one. If you didn't know, I asked them to do chicken wing next. That way I can play Ain't No Thing But a Chicken Wing. Let's see if we get it. All right. What are we going to give this one? A ding, a thing, a ling, a fling? Hard to say. Let's give it a ding. Seems fine. What are you folks sleeping in this morning? Wakey, hand off snaky. Let's go. It's the Bro Show. We're here. Rating AI generated magic cards. OP fair underpowered. I think this is just a fair card. It's the fairest mirror of the wall. Who's the fairest? Nothing of them all.
It's you, sir. You are the fairest. You so fair that I cannot dare square my.
All right. This one catching up to where we left off yesterday. Guardian. It's like Guardian Liviosa. No, not quite. Guardian Nina Brelishan. Nina Brelishan. Sounds like a girl I went to high school with. Nina Brelishan. 1 blue and 1. For a 1/1, Krakens you control enter the battlefield as a commander type without paying. Guardian Nina Brelishan. Nina Brelishan, Inquisitor, the 1/1 Inquisitor. Not so sure about the text, though. Looks like Krakens, we know what those are. What's Kraken in? The Krakens enter the battlefield as a commander type without paying Guardian Nina Brelishan. I gotta give this a meh. Meh. I'm gonna buzz this one out. You're out of here. Get out of here. You stink. Nina Brelishan. Never was gonna work out between us. Let's see. We're gonna vote on it. Yeah, we got Swampy yesterday. Swampa Lompagus. This is a nice card. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. Hey, how you folks doing here this morning on the channel? It's I feel warmed up. I feel good to go. I feel ready to rock and roll here this morning. It's a cold one. Frozen eggs and toast for breakfast here today.
The cards in today's video
Do
are.
you think that is a delicious snack for a couple of people who need some breakfast? All right. Frozen eggs and toast, ice cream sandwiches, and a cold day here this morning. Let's take a look at some Magic the Gathering news articles here for you folks. I've seen a couple. It's quite interesting. Actually, I've got some pretty spicy articles for you today. Ragavan, the imposter. That's right. Not Ragavan, the nimble pilferer. I'm talking about Ragavan, the imposter. Ragavan, the scan. Ragascan. That's right. Ragavan, the scan, man. People are proxying the little ragamuffin. I got my first Ragavan last week, actually. Thank you, Mr. T. Freezy. Never had a Ragavan, never had a monkey. I wanted to open the monkey. Prime 406. I really wanted a crack of the monkey pack. I sure wasn't going to hype onto the hype train and go out and buy the sucker because it was really expensive. But I did get to wheel and deal and trade with a Broham that had a couple extra copies. So I got my single play copy of Ragamuffin. It's not a Ragascan. It's a Ragathentic Ragavan. I got the cheapest one, $60, right? $60 for a Ragamuffin. If that's a cheap magic card nowadays, what kind of world are we living in? Well, we're living in a world where this happens. And I don't blame them. Except, this is going a little too far. You can't enter into a tournament for money. A 10K tournament, Magic the Gathering tournament creates massive drama over counterfeit cards. Counterfeit! Faker. Fake and bake. Shake and bake. Trying to put a fake tan on that Ragavan. He faked it. He baked it. He took it. He shaked it. Now the Ragavan is getting... Oh, that was a mistake. Let's get you out of the tournament. Magic the Gathering tournament creates massive drama over counterfeit cards. Counterfeiter. Get in the corner. Face the window. You're out of here. This weekend, there was a handful of major tournaments run through Star City Games in Cincinnati. For the main event, the $20,000 prize pool and modern 10K players were given the opportunity to complete in a highly competitive event. While many of these tournaments don't always draw the same level of crowds as previous years, it's still nice that invested players are able to battle for glory and prizes. All right, post-scandalemic. Glory and prizes. Brody Alfonso playing for fun and prizes. Unfortunately, the Ragascan got this guy caught. No Ragavan, man, can be too plain. All right, Ragavan from the frying pan. Ragavan from the frying pan. Unfortunately, this event was filled with drama as multiple players were given game losses. Multiple players game losses, disqualifications, and were told to replace specific cards resulting from the use of counterfeit MTG cards. Unsurprisingly, players in these major tournaments were required to play with authentic Magic cards and can be penalized otherwise. So no rega man unless it's authentic. Awkward part, however, is that in some cases players end up unknowingly using. Yeah, okay. Players, that's what I'd say. I didn't know. Players in some cases end up unknowingly utilizing fake cards. Even worse, sometimes these counterfeit Magic the Gathering cards come from on-site vendors that fail to recognize their legitimacy. What kind of an event are we running here? The vendors are selling fake cards, the people are using counterfeit cards. I mean, it's one thing to proxy and just put a piece of paper in there, but it's like these are like actual, like they're designed to look like Magic cards. I mean, at least with a proxy, you can just throw slip a paper in front of another card. Given just how many incidents have occurred this event, it's important to dig deeper into the issues at hand. I think this is a drama event. Who's this guy? Thomas Ginn, SCG Cincinnati. Y'all too cute, my sweet boy in top 8. What did WT fair? Incredibly pissed at whatever scumbag sold him fakes. He had an incredible run this weekend in his first 20K, and to have it cut short like this is absolutely heartbreaking. Well, I would just say Magic the Gathering 101. Know what a real Magic card looks like, how to identify it, and how not to get hosed. Likely story if you get busted, right? That's something somebody who got busted would say. All right. If the sleeve doesn't fit, you must acquit, Your Honor. He didn't know that these were fake cards. Let's start with the most drastic measure taken at the Star City Games conversation. Convention time. One Magic the Gathering player in particular, was disqualified for using counterfeit cards during the main event. Unfortunately, this comes after the player had made it to the top 8, barring something unusual happening that should have guaranteed a very hefty payday. Unfortunately, however, after a lengthy deck check from a judge, checking his deck, probably rubbed it, took a close look at his deck, cut his deck, flipped his deck over, got him to take his deck out and put his deck back in and then take it out again and then put it back in. And then after several inspections of the deck, this disqualification ruling would ultimately put an end to their tournament. You're out of here. What's up, buddy? Hot dice. We're hot. We're hot on the air here today. Talking about fake raga scans, raga scanning, and raga planning, and trying to raga scam your way into the top 8 at Star City Games Cincinnati. All right. What started the deck check in the first place had to do with the other player seeing all 4 copies of Ragavan in one game, in game 1. While this is absolutely a real possibility to happen normally, this can sometimes be a red flag that the player has intentionally marked their cards. Yeah, I got 4 Ragavans in game 1. Everything was turning up Millhouse. All right, so playing with marked cards can land you a disqualification. This is a common thing to see. People using their fingernail on the back of the sleeves to put a little chip in there so that they can tell where it is. You got to watch out for these people, these hose heads, try and do stuff like that. That's another thing, like shields up when you're playing Magic the Gathering 1. All right, Magic the Gathering player tip of the week. Let's get this straight, so there's no confusion here. I'm going to spell this out directly for all you folks new to the game of Magic the Gathering. All right. Number 1, first thing you got to learn how to do, most importantly, learn how to shuffle your deck. Okay. That's an important thing. Randomization is key. Learn how to shuffle your deck. That is important. It is the most important. It's the most important part of the game, in my opinion. That's right. Shuffling. Okay. Learn how to randomize your deck. In this case, number 2, know what a Magic card looks like and how to spot a fake. That's pretty important because if you're going to be spending money on cards, you want to buy the real thing. Like it's like going into a store, grocery store, and they're selling you plastic apples. Okay, there's ways to check the cards. So always look at the cards, know what you're looking for. Well, we're not going to discuss how to describe and identify fakes out there, but there's plenty of information out there available to you, outward facing public information that'll teach you how to spot a fake. In most cases, it's very obvious. There's the flick test, there's the light test. There's lots of ways you can test the cards and identify the fakes. So this seems like rubbish to me. I didn't know they were fake cards, right? Let's get back into this. This kind of chaps my butt, right? Because I wish I could be traveling to SCG Con Cincinnati. I do. Except I'm the working man for the working man who's out there making you folks Magic the Gathering videos and serving the customer. That's what I do here. I got to be some use to people. No, we're not just another one of those folks on social media showing you flexing pictures of your biceps. We're actually out there getting stuff done just like you folks do each and every day when you get out there and you give it the best you've got to the world to make this world a better place, move the economy, and get some productivity and be of some use to people. So you need to know how to shuffle, and you definitely need to know how to spot fake cards. So, I mean, if you get to this event, you're at the top 8. I mean, I'm sorry, you're smart enough to make top 8, but you can't dress yourself or spot the fake cards. Likely story. All right, playing with marked cards. And then the third most important thing, I forgot. The third most important thing, if you can think of any way that somebody would try and cheat in a game of Magic cards, trust me, someone's done it and someone's going to do it. So you need to learn how to spot tells, okay? Like cheats, like when people are doing shady stuff, like basketball, they always in football, they're like, always keep your head up. Hockey, any sport, they're like, always keep your head on a swivel, always keep your head up, right? Some people get in the game and they're shuffling their library and they don't even look up to see what their opponent's doing. They just kind of in the zone, right? You're so enthralled. And like when I say learn how to shuffle, like learn how to shuffle without staring at your deck. Like you want to be watching your opponent while you're shuffling, right? And you want to do a proper shuffle. So, but you got to keep an eye on your, like, Magic. It's called Magic. You ever been to a magic show? What do they say? Keep your eye on the ball, right? You got to watch what the opponent is doing. You always watch what the magician is doing, or they're not going to see what's going on, right? And even with magicians, it's a little bit hard to tell. So, like, we're talking about like bad shuffles, lapping cards, flipping cards to the top of your deck, going through your library when you're not supposed to, maybe drawing one too many cards. These are all actions that may happen across the table from your, I just conveniently got 4 Ragavans in hand 1. Look out for those things. You got to keep your head on a swivel and you got to be. So those are very 3 most important things of Magic the Gathering. And then there's like skill, and then there's luck. So you, like, to make a top 8, you got to have like all those things. One, you can't get cheated on because like people can screw you. You can like, and if somebody wants to do that, you just call a judge, right? So that's sort of what happened in this case here. So playing with marked cards can give a player a massive advantage as such. I've actually had this happen. I've had a guy come up. I was playing a modern event and or it was Legacy. And lo and behold, this was at Magic 30. Lo and behold, the guy had True Name Nemesis every game on turn 1. So then as he was in game 3, I noticed like he took his 7 cards and I'm looking at the True Name Nemesis and like the True Name Nemesis. Well, I'm looking at the backs of his cards and he's got like slightly off color sleeves than the rest of the cards in the deck. And I was like, hey, judge. So I called the judge over and he's like, yes, can I help you, sir? And I'm like, does this sleeve look different than the rest of them? And the judge was like, yes, why, yes, it does. Let me take a look at, you mind if I take a look at your deck? So then the guy, like Yuya Watanabe, right? This guy here, they're talking about him in this article, but I digress. So then the guy says, oh, yeah, you could look at my deck. So then the judge starts going through the deck, fanning it through it. And he's looking at the back of the sleeves and he's like, okay, this sleeve looks a little different. 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 So he's like, and then he's like, okay, I have like, and this is kind of like how good this judge was. Like, well, we'll get to that. He's like, I have like a few concerns about your deck here. It appears that there's a couple of sleeves that are different than the rest. I mean, they're black, but they're off black. And so the judge flips the deck over and he starts looking at the front side of the cards are the ones that are offset, and those are like the key cards to the deck. It's the True Nine Nemesis, it's like the Tarmogoyf, and it's like the whatever equipment he was running, right? And the judge is like, okay, I've got some concerns about your deck. There's like 6 or 7 cards here that are easily identifiable from the back. And when I flip them over, I've got some concerns about like the ones that are identifiable. And then the judge sort of let him off the hook. He's like, did you borrow any cards from a friend? And the guy's like, yeah, I borrowed. And he's like, what do you want to tell me? Like, you don't have to like tell me out loud, but just like whisper in my ear. What cards did you borrow? So the guy's like, I borrowed True Name, I borrowed Goyf, and I borrowed something else. And he's like, okay, so funnily enough, the 3 cards you named, 2 of them are this card. And the guy's like, oh. And he's like, okay, so I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to like, we're going to get some new sleeves here. We're going to de-sleeve these and we're going to put them in like all the regular sleeves. And I'm like, well, the guy should get a disqualification, right? I think I ended up winning the match anyway, but never punished. So watch out for marked cards, okay? That's another way people will try and get, and it's the simplest thing. And I think some people, they prey on people not wanting to call a judge over because they'll be like, you accused me of cheating. So suspiciously at this SCG con, this player had 4 copies of Ragavan come out on the table in game 1, and which sparked the conversation for the opposing player to call a judge over and say, hey, like this guy got Ragavan, 4 copies of Ragavan game 1. Like the odds of that happening are pretty slim. So playing with marked cards can sometimes give a player a massive advantage, such that should not be taken lightly. A rather well-known example of a player being disqualification for marked cards occurred years ago when former MTG Hall of Famer Yuya Watanabe was removed from a Magic the Gathering championship playing Tron in Modern. His Tron lands differed from the rest of the cards in a way that made them visibly unique. So this is like the 3 big things you got to learn in Magic. 1, randomize your deck. Okay? 2, learn how to spot fake cards if you're going to be playing in tournaments and buying cards and spending money on them. That's just silliness, right? You make it to the top 8 and you got fake cards in your deck. I'm pretty sure you're smart enough to make it to top 8, smart enough to know what a fake Magic card looks like. And number 3, learn how to spot the tells when people are trying to do this shenanigans, and don't do them yourself. Learn how to protect. It's like protect yourself at all times. All right. So this guy was playing this. This is an old story with Yuya Watanabe. It's like it was the guy was pinching the back of the cards with his thumb, with the sleeve, so they put a little dent on there on his Tron lands, right? So this was a clear example of how seriously cheating can be and taken in paper Magic tournaments. People do it all the time. What's interesting about disqualification in question this weekend, though, is that the player wasn't actually disqualified for marked cards. Instead, while checking, the judges determined that the playset of Ragavans were all fake Ragascans, right? Well, I can see people trying to proxy it, because, like, what are you looking to a playset of Ragavans? You're like, $240? All right, let's take a look at this tweet from Sakana. Policy for discovering unauthorized cards in a deck is to give the player time to find replacements. If they can't in the allotted time, it's a game loss, and we use the standard 5 basics to replace them. These basics can be replaced with the proper card later with no further penalty. As what's been mentioned already, going right to the DQ is only going to happen if it was found to be intentionally playing. Yes, exactly. This isn't round 1, Sakana. This is the top 8. Where things get a bit more unclear, however, is with regard to the intent of the disqualified player. Generally, the correct policy enforcement in the case of something using counterfeit or fake cards is that the MTG player must try to find legitimate replacements in a short period of time. This can typically be done by purchasing cards from vendors at an event. A game loss can be instituted if a player can't find replacements and basic lands are used to replace the previous slots. The way a player is disqualified, however, is if they were deemed to have played with the fake cards on purpose. In this particular case, it's unclear exactly how the disqualification process took place. It can also be quite difficult to prove or disprove the intent of situations like this, which only further complicates the scenario in case. So what do we know? No, it's all that the counterfeit cards have become increasingly problematic over the years. Back in 2018, pro player Andrew Jessup was given a game loss at a Grand Prix for using fake cards despite buying these cards on TCG Player. Okay, sure. The reality is, over time, counterfeit cards have become increasingly more realistic, and such sellers of these fake cards in the first place often don't even recognize that they're fake. This SCG was a bloodbath. Bang! What's this? Can't click on it? Can I click on it? Let's see here. Judges told me Blood Crypt was fake and that they have used a loop to check, so I must replace it. Took it to 3 different vendors afterwards, and they all told me it was real. Okay, why don't you check for yourself? Y'all DQ'd my... Oh, this is this guy. Fakes, 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 right? Spot the fake. Oh, let's see this one. Oh, this is Roland Chang. What's Roland got to say? 3 near mint serialized worm coils, $2,300. 1 deck check at SCG Con Cincinnati, $50 entry. Having them flagged as too curled in an all foil deck, resulting in a game loss. Priceless. Hell yeah, getting me one step closer to the most ridiculous Tron deck ever. Oh, too curled. Okay. All right, well, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about curled cards. I mean, that can happen, but to make matters worse, there was even another incident at this event that showcased just how realistic counterfeit cards can be. One player supposedly was told to replace a copy of the Blood Crypt from their deck that was deemed fake, but later was told by multiple vendors that the card was indeed real. A huge deal, as at a minimum it implies that even purchasing cards at reputable vendors at the event won't always be reliable. These folks are judging events. They should know. 3 near mint serials, blah, blah, blah. If that weren't enough, there are even more issues with players purchasing real cards from the vendors on site and still getting punished. Despite purchasing foil serialized worm coils to put a completely foiled out deck, these worm coil engines in particular curled enough to be regarded as marked cards. Unfortunately, pringling is nothing new and can make it extremely difficult to register foil cards in any capacity, in any competitive setting. Not to mention, curling of a secret layer card can be taken advantage of as people can become more aware of potential upcoming draw steps prematurely. They have already been seeing issues with the secret layer cards in the past where disqualification occurred as a result, given that some foils, such as the secret layer cards shown above, curl more easily than odors. Having a deck made entirely out of foils may not save you from suffering the consequences of registering marked cards, but where do we go from here? Paranoia about fakes alongside the back printing quality for real cards has gotten so bad that it seems fine and won't have any consequence. Frank Moon. Recently, there's also been a ton of discourse regarding the idea of proxy usage, which only heightens concerns about the Magic card's authenticity. Moving forward, to be clear, proxies and counterfeit Magic cards are separate entities. Oh, really? That should be treated as such. However, well, it's a matter of opinion. It's worth reiterating that while the card quality of real foil cards has seemingly become increasingly detrimental, the overall quality of both proxy and counterfeit cards has been increasingly dramatic as a result. We're reaching a point where it's not always easy to spot a fake card. Additionally, judges themselves have an exceptionally difficult job readily upholding the integrity of the tournament setting, and this increasing use of fake cards is not just bad for players, but is also bad for judges who have to try to give accurate rulings based on policy. It can be difficult to crack down on cheating and counterfeiting card usage, while simultaneously recognizing that many players are completely unaware that they are using them in the first place. I didn't know. If anything, this situation should shine a light on the complexity of enforcing rulings. There aren't necessarily any easy solutions. These problems should continue to be monitored, and hopefully, future Star City Games tournaments won't lead to quite as many debacles. Yeah, is a very simple solution. It's that the players take some responsibility and look at their own cards before they use them and know how, like, lack of education is not an excuse. And to be like, oh, I'm just too dumb to know. I don't know. Yeah, there's a very simple solution. If you're going to learn all the rules of the game and the game mechanics and how the cards work, and then what taps and untaps are and draw steps and game interactions and the stack and priority and all these other very complicated game rules, you can take a minute to learn how to spot a counterfeit card. Okay. Hot dice. Nice to see you here. All righty, already, all roo, all who. Well, all right. Introvert's favorite day, shy day. Con artist's favorite day, lie day. Narcissist's favorite day, my day. Shopaholic's favorite day, my day. Taylor's favorite day is a tie day. The rugby player's favorite day is a try day. But here we are on the Magic Show in the morning. It's Friday, and we are reading a couple of articles for you folks here. I got one more article to do before we run down the movers and shakers list. Value of tokens in Magic the Gathering. Whoever's tuning in, there's two of you out there watching, and I appreciate you more than anything going in this world of coffee, Magic the Gathering, early morning risings, minus 35 temperature degrees out there. 2 sets of long johns on today. Wherever you are, whether you're driving to work, you got Brody next to the coffee pot, maybe in your back pocket, dash of the car, wherever you're dragging me along, wherever you are. I want to thank you for tuning in. Grogu, Baby Yoda included. Couldn't have done it without you. We've got a news article for you here this Friday. I'm excited. It's the Yabba Dabba Doo Day. It's the end of the week. One more, then we get over the hump. Then we can play some Magic Gathering tomorrow night, Saturday, with my buddy Murray Cooper. You know what's cool? I finally found the copy of Edgar Markov that I had shuffled away into the bulk bin. That's right, $150 for that sucker. Happy to have located it. And then I found my copy of Olivia Voldaren, and I put the two together, one behind the other, face to face, back in the bulk bin box. But I know they're safe and sound. I got an article for you folks here from Gregory Willett. Will it be a good article? I don't know. Only time will tell. Let's take a look at it here with you folks this morning. I'm happy to do it. I love reading these articles. It gets me going and rolling and snowing and blowing. That's right. Let's check this article out. It's called The Value of Tokens in Magic. Who we got here? Can't have people responsible for their own actions now, Brody, right? That's what we're teaching people. I like that comment. We can't have people be responsible for their own actions now, Brody. That's just not the way things are going. We didn't vote for that. I mean, the people at the top aren't responsible for their own actions. Let's not make the regular people like you and me responsible for our own actions. That's right. All right, fine. The value of Magic tokens. Here's an article on the 10th, come out yesterday, maybe a couple days ago, written 2 days ago by Gregory Willett. Will it be good? Only time will tell. Let's do it. Hot Dice, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in here. All right, welcome to the new year. Friends, it's time for us to squeeze out some value once more. And this time we're looking at everyone's favorite throwaway. Throwaway chaff tokens. In fact, I got a token in a pack that Gary said. He's like, that Mirror Breaker 2/2 Goblin Shaman token is $20. So I'll have to take a look at that today and see if that comes up on the list. But some of these tokens are expensive. What goes in the chaff? I don't know. A wizard staff, perhaps a wand, and a little bit of a song. All right, to the aspiring seller, these cards can thread into your stale with ease, as almost every new set injects a surplus of unique and oft forgotten tokens, many of which are pure bulk, but not all. Let's get after it. Good idea for this article here. Check your bulk, Brody. Understanding token rarity. Let's have a look. Rarité. Just going to make the screen a little bigger here, a little easier to read. Understanding token rarity. Mini feed.
Mini feed?
All right. Your chance at opening any given token is tied to your chance of opening the card that produces it. That's why you'll see a gaggle of sapperling tokens laying around stores on the trash and floor, and very few shrine tokens. So definitely keep on the lookout when busting product for the token that you know to be rare, as they'll will be more often than not increase in value over time, especially if they're tied to a card that overperforms in the constructed environment. What do we got here? The shrine token. Shiny token, not worth too much. For commander products, a token's given rarity is tied to the number of copies one gets when opening the deck. This can be a good thing, especially when it comes to mapping out large quantities of decks to open and listing as singles. In other cases, which we'll look on just down the road, it can't be great. Keep everything. Not all tokens are created equal in value. As much as a given, still within every new release, there are a handful that rise to the top of their respective classes. From commander decks to standard products to collector packs. The opportunity to open a token worth more than its cardboard is plentiful. What do we got here? This bear token from Odyssey? $20? Okay. Not every token can be a goblin shaman. Here's the goblin shaman. I got one of these. Sitting on the desk over there. I didn't even know it was good until Garrett Jotter said, hey, that token's worth a few bucks. But that's the thing. The token's tied to the print run of the token is tied to the odds of opening the card that it represents. Not only token can be a goblin shaman, of course, but that's what's important to keep the ones you open out of your main bulk. Ease of access, looking for cards in your collection can go a long way to making your money faster. Patience is key. And speaking of our little goblin shaman, let's take a look at the history on this card. All right, what do we got here? Let's draw some lines on charts. That's right, lines on charts. No charts. Started off fairly cheap, then it's gone up to about $10 here in 2022. This thing spiked to $25, then it ticked down $10-12, and now this goblin shaman is worth $10, which is pretty good considering it's a token. You can use any token that you write up yourself to represent it, but still, I think it's pretty neat that this token is worth a twin, right? $20. Not bad, not bad. Okay, well, let's read on. Gus. A solid For a solid 3 months, Goblin Shaman was a rest around 50 cents. That all changed when the spikes that discovered that the overpower of Fable of the Mirror Breaker sent our Shaman token to the path to a solid $9 market price. With only 2 printings, a normal and a double-sided version, we can easily expect to maintain this price point, at least for a little while until Fable gets reprinted. This is all to say that with a little patience and understanding, you can extract some value from even the lowest of card types and tokens that are connected uniquely to their parent card. Like the Goblin Shaman is, it always has the chance to achieve great gains. Great gains! May the gains be always in your favor. From the lost caverns of Ixalan hails the fungus dinosaur, and it's a handful of printings. Currently, the primary version is sitting comfortably around $1.75. That'll get you across the toll booth, Willie. $1.75 with his double-sided cousin, either ahead or not far behind. This commander, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth set, gives us a human knight token. This token ties directly to its parent card, fourth arrow. I want the fourth Aerolingus. There's a card I don't have. Hate it, want it, have it. It's on my list of the favorite cards for 2024, along with Echoing Deeps and Spelunking. A burgeoning legacy staple with its ability to give casters an early monarch token as also being an all-star. In conclusion, I hope that the new year has treated you kindly. Do yourself a favor and start fresh with an organized collection and sections divided up for the different types of cards and card types you can squeeze value from. As I said before, we aren't moving mountains at the price points. We are moving the needle up. I can't think of a better way to go. A nice article here from Mr. Heisler. I really do like this article. It's a gooder. Or no, this is not from Heisler. This is from Gregory Willett. I've been playing Magic since 2003. Leans towards limited, but a tumultuous love for constructed. On the side, he's since taken an interest in the financial aspects of Magic the Gathering, has been hooked on it ever since. Lives in Savannah, Georgia, with his 2 chunky kitty boys. So, I like that article. Talking about tokens, there's gold in them hills. Really, there is. All right, you know what time it is. There's one more thing to do here this morning. There's only one more thing we can do. If you're talking Magic the Gathering stocks, doing some Magic the Gathering talks, there's only one more thing we can do. Let's do a recap of this week to see what is moving on the excuse me. These are you can hear, you know what time it is. It's time for your movers and your shakers. So get up, make yourself a breakfast shake, a protein shake, do a little bit of shaking around the house, shake, rattle, and roll, grab a pepper shaker, and sit down, listen to the show, and relax with me. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Enough information out there, or is it possibly just too much information altogether? Let me do it for you here on the show. This is your weekly winners for Friday, January the 12th, 2024. It's your host, Brody. We're bringing you some movement. I hope you're tapping your feet and moving in your seat. Let's do this here. Weekly winners. I love this type. I love this part of the week. It's like the movers and the shakers for the week. This is the all list. This is everything for the week. This is what's moving up, right? The Reaver Cleaver. Nobody wants to talk about you, Reaver Cleaver. Leave it to Brody. Don't leave it to the Reaver Cleaver. Top of the pile, we got Guy's Leash from Alpha, up 71%. I don't know if this sucker is a legit hit or not. Let's take a look at the chart on the Liege. Alpha rares, though. It's an alpha rare. Decent card. $3,800. Why not? This one was a card that we really like to play. We were talking about Ragascans. Bro, Dual Brains in the house. What's up, Brain? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. We're talking about Ragascans. People using fake cards at tournaments, making top 8. And then they get there and they say, hey, I don't know what happened. But this card was like so cool when I was growing up. It was like 13, it was 95, 90, we were playing Revise and get this guy. The guy is Liege here. And we always thought, here's an interesting fun fact about this card. We always thought when somebody had this card, they're like, your card's dirty. You've got dirt on the card. You see these dots in the background? Always thought this was dirt on the card because it looks kind of funny. Even in the sleeve, you're like, you got dirt on the card, and then you get the revised, the white border cards, you get these black spots on there. These are sprites. It's part of the artwork. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's okay. This sucker is pretty cool because it's like almost like you can play land destruction or land control in green. As long as Gaia's Liege isn't attacking, its power and toughness is each equal to the number of florists you control. As long as Gaia's Liege is attacking, its power and toughness are equal to the number of florists defending player controls. Tap it, target lands, become a florist until Gaia's Liege leaves the play. The battlefield is, should I play or should I stay now? Do. All right, this card, what a spike up in price. Is this for real? Probably not. This could be an outlier. This could be a graded one. This could be one that sold or one that got mispriced. It's quite possible. Let's see if we can get it. A good way to check that, and this is something that I say, I've said it before and I'll say it again and again. If you watch these charts, and I encourage people to look at them, read them, do them, study them for themselves from time to time to understand and just get familiar with looking at these. It's not like you got to look at it and be like, I know how to read a chart. Just get familiar with looking at these and then like look for certain things. When I see a spike like this, I'll go down to the vendor shop and I'll say, okay, is there any available at that price? If it's a like this is a spike. It's a spike-a-like-a-guess right there. I like it. I spike it. Just like Mike's Hard Lemonade. Let's look what the vendors are selling it for. $8.99 and it's sold out. Okay. Well, that could mean there's some eBay action. You can run over to eBay and you can find the guys Legion Alpha. You can get an HP copy. Kid Icarus always has these damaged and beat up copies there. One for $123. You've also got a BGS 8.5. Here's a good deal, $769. Do you think this is getting bought out and it's a target of a buyout? Alpha Rare is always a good investment. I couldn't say, like a BGS 8.5, not a bad price. Right here, this sucker, right? This is the $769 if you can afford it. But it's just going to stay in a case. It's not going to do much for you. But like again, I say, if a card is targeted of a buyout and somebody's actually trying to take all the copies off the market, this could be a mispriced card. Let's see if there's anybody pricing it. No, that seems about the $800 mark. So let's see if we get a retrace next week on the Gaia's Liege. It just might be a one pump patty that it's there one day and it's gone the next. Ancestral Recall in beta. Ooh la la. Happy to see this. Brody's holding a beta recall. Yes, he is. Got my copy. Beta recall. This one's $8,100. Oh my god. TCG dude. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Good morning, my dude. It's cold outside. It really is. Double Long John's Day, minus 35 pa. But this card will curl up next to your copy of Ancestral Recall, why don't you? The beta copy will fetch you a whopping $8,111. Holy smokes. That's insane. Some price action on this card. It's always going to be worth some cheddar because this thing is worth points in Canadian Highlander. It's also worth big money when it comes to vintage players. You can play it in cube. That's about it. Limited formats are limited for the use of the Ancestral Recall, and it's an expensive card. It's one of the better It's one of the better wheel of three from the early days of Magic. Red got Lightning Bolt, green got Giant Growth, white got Shafted and got Healing Salve, black got Dark Ritual, and blue got Draw 3 cards. Turns out that's really good. Yeah, even better than Giant Growth or Healing Salve. Hard to believe. All right, all the vintage decks playing it. Of course, Lyra Saga, Jewel Shops, Oath of Druids, Blue Tinker, Beseech the Storm, Doomsday. For anybody playing vintage out there, this is obviously something they're going to want to include in their deck. Put it in your deck. Put it in there. Draw 3 cards. Dual Brain MTG, Mr. Ridge Rager. You doing a swap meet run this weekend? I hope so. I mean, Also, Dual Brain is doing a profit. Okay, there's a vote up. Get over to the Dual Brain channel. You really should. I mean, check it out. If you haven't already, for those of you, I know I'm talking about you, TCG, dude. Everybody go to the Dual Brain channel. Not you, TCG, dude. Not you, Hot Taste. Not you, Ed the Dual Brain. But everybody else, head on over there. There's some box breaks coming up. I already voted. I think I voted for Prophecy. I had such a good time with the last one. I even got myself a minty fresh copy of the Ristic Study. Pretty cool card. Look at this card, Pyrexian Tower. What did I say? Pyrexian Tower up how many percent? This has got to be $900, up 861%. This has got to be some kind of software glitch. There's no way this card is $890. You can get it. You can check that. Commander's playing at Rograk and Scylla's Ren. Anything that pumps out cheap tokens, the Edgar Markov deck. Yahoo! I found my copy of Edgar. I'm super happy. I found the copy of Edward. Software or some price manipulation? Well, it could be a pricing issue. Like if somebody misses a decimal point, like usually the card, what does it usually sit in and around on? $90, $80, $9. Okay, 35. Most recently, before the spike, it was $94. So someone could just key it in wrong and be like $940, and now all of a sudden, the software is gonna. This is a downside to what these shenanigans do by making this website. It's misleading, and if you don't know what to look for, you're like, oh my god, Phyrexian Tower is going up. You can get squigged real hard if somebody this price data to make a trade with you. Really bad. They'd be like, so it could be a mispriced copy. Let's see here. Sold out in the vendor shop. This ain't a reserve list card. Let's take a look, see where else we can get it. eBay looks like nothing on eBay. Phyrexian Tower, Legendary Land. Well, it's from the Urza's block. It really is. This isn't even the rare version or the foil version. There were no foils in Urza Saga. Never mind. Oh, yeah. It's showing here. Let's see. What do we? Yeah, no, there weren't. It was the Destiny and the Legacy. So, good morning, MTG Hillbilly. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Double Long John's Day here this Friday for me. Minus 35. The wind chill is nasty, and it's cold outside. We're taking a look at this Pyrexian Tower, right? There's a guy in the top named Rex throwing pie at people. You can see it in the artwork. You can zoom in closely. Pyrexian Tower. There he is there, right here. Rex, right there. He's at the top of the tower, also known as Pyrexian. He's up there. He's throwing pie down onto the young people down below. Fun fact about Magic you didn't know, right? Okay, let's have a look here. We're doing a recap on the weekly winners this morning. This card's like this is a bogus. It looks bogus to me. Saga, Babala Saga, the Boogeyman, the Pyrexian name. We were talking about fake Ragavans this morning. Somebody who got punted out of the top 8 of SCG Con Cincinnati for having too many fake copies of Ragavan in their deck. It sounds like that whole, and excuse me for saying it, it sounds like that entire event is a bit of a shiat show, a shooty show, just a bit of a cluster, a cluster fizzle, right? Ah, I know. All right, Burger Chef's favorite day. It's Friday. Pilot's favorite day is the Fly Day. Sad person's favorite day is Cry Day. Fat person's favorite day is Pie Day. Introvert's favorite day, Shy Day. Con artist's favorite day, Lie Day. Shopaholic's favorite day, Buy Day. Taylor's favorite day is a tie day. Rugby players a try day, and today is Friday. That's why we're doing a recap on a cluster fizzle. A recap on the movers and the shakers for what was happening this week in the world of Magic Finance. Now, so far, we got the guy as Liege up at the top of the list. Hello, my liege. Dual Brain, my liege. How art thou this morning? TCG Jude, my liege. And MTG Hillbilly, my liege. Ancestral Recall. Both copies, the Unlimited version and the Pyrexian Tower. This guy's liege showing up here with his impressive 71% price increase. I don't know why this Phyrexian Tower isn't above it. This 861% uptick would definitely mean that this Phyrexian Tower should be on the top of the list, unless it's Bullspit, because we know it is. All right. We got the Lich card. Lich. There's a nice card. This is a good card. All right. Beta Lich, $699. This was a creepy card. I never really understood this card until later in the day. I didn't even want to read it. It's so creepy. As Lich enters the battlefield, you lose life equal to your life total. So your life total becomes 0. You don't lose a game for having 0 or less life. If you would gain life, draw that many cards instead. Whenever you're dealt damage, sacrifice that many permanents. If you can't, you lose the game. If Lich is put in your graveyard from the battlefield, you lose the game. So it's all they have to do is remove this. What's happened in early risers? The Mill Masters made it. All right, the team has showed up. It's nice to see you folks here this morning. Appreciate the like, appreciate the view. We got to hit that 500 subscriber mark here before the end of the year. That's like the goal. We got to get that subscription mark up there. So, like, hit me a like, give me a squeeze, give me a thumbs up. Let's hit that 500 subscriber mark. Then we can get to the next level on YouTube, right? I love it. So this one here, what do we got? The beta version showing a $699 price increase. Had some really good articles this morning. If you get a chance, back it up and rewatch the stream. I enjoyed it. It's good. But this thing here, steadily ticking, picking its nose and ticking its hose up in price, tickling its toes, picking its nose and tickling its toes all the way up in price. The Lich card, there's a better one. Lich's Mastery, right? Like, I don't know why you would play the Lich. This is just something you would want to, well, collect if you're on the reserve list. I have an unlimited copy only simply for the reserve list collection. It's not that playable. It really isn't. It's too easy to remove and just win the game. But then the new hexes that come out, like this one, these legendary enchantments, these have hexproof. And then there's also the 9 lives card. So this one here, it's 3 black and 3 hexproof. Can't lose a game. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. And whenever you lose life, for each 1 life lost, exile a permanent you control or a card from your hand or graveyard. When Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So this is like a way better, right? They've upgraded it. It's got a serious upgrade because, like, this card was printed before there was hexproof, right? So, like, a simple disenchant. That's it. You're out of here. That'll nerf this. Okay? Collectability. Definitely got some collectability to it. Doesn't look like there's any beta copies around on the Card Kingdom, Card Castles, or the Snowball Kingdoms. So that's all right. And we see the next one, a White Ward from Alpha. This is an Alpha Common. Please tell me this is an Alpha Common. The Wards, it's uncommon. This is like the spit that you would get in your revised packs. You'd be like, oh, my uncommon is a White Ward. Oh, God. White Ward. This is terrible. The only thing worse than White Ward is White Walls. Enchant creature gets protection from white. It's uncommon. The only reason this card is going to see any action at all, especially this $122 price tag, is simply because simply the best, better than all the rest. No, it's not better than all the rest. It's just it's because it's from beta and alpha. Black bordered old version of this uncommon. If you want to do yourself a favor, you can pick it up over at the vendor store for a couple of bucks. Looks like it's sold out at Card Kingdom, but you can get it on eBay. What are we looking at? Not BGS 95s, $350. BGS 95, $753. So these two posting right here, look at the price disparity. This is what we call disparity. When you've got some knucklehead over here, it's like, I got a 9.5, it's $750. And then you got somebody else is like, well, I got a 9.5, it's $350. There's like this disparity between these two sellers. One wants $350, one wants double. And then you got somebody else here who's got a PSA graded 9. He's like, well, this is only $200. But then the vendor shops are selling it like for $23 to $25 when they could get it. And these other folks here on eBay that just got beat up copies is trying to get $20 or $30 for them. Well, that's just going to put this chart all over it. So then you get some folks who post like these two folks here, Alpha Ward posting for $350 to $750. That's what's going to make this card. It doesn't mean the price is moved up. It just moves the chart. And then Timmy looks up at his movers and the shakers when he gets up in the morning and goes, I got to buy White Ward because it's going up it's worth $700 now. So I better go and spend money on it. And then you buy a crappy card that has nothing but collectability value. And I would say have one. Why not? Have a White Ward, but don't go all in on it. None are open this weekend. Dong, 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 dong. All right, what else we got on the top? Movers and the shakers. Transmute Artifact. All right. This is the part of the game where I like to tell you folks where Brody screwed up. Screwed the pooch. He bucked the chaff. He shit the bed. He shot himself in the foot. I was walking down the street and I saw a Transmute Artifact at my feet. So I took it up and I looked it. Look it. I shook it. And what fell out? Well, I'll tell you what fell out. A power artifact. Okay, there was a time when power artifact and transmute artifact were worth the exact same thing. In fact, today is the day. While we look at this, today, Friday, January 12th, the best darn community of Magic the Gathering enthusiasts who like to track the prices of Magic cards. No, they want me to do it for them. That's right. That's why you're here, right? Power artifact. Let's take a look at this. These two used to move like together. Artifact, powder artifact. I want powder artifact. Artifact. Learn to spell, Brody. These two used to be the same price for a long time. There was no price disparity between them, meaning they were very similar in price. You see this chart here, and in fact, the power artifact was up to in and around $600. Brody was licking his lips, thinking and winking and blinking, slinking up and down the stairs, saying, aha, I made the right call. But the power artifact is so much better than the transmute artifact, right? So much better. But then, what happened? Look at this sucker. See, roughly around the same, and then right around the same area, boom, spike up to $600 right here. The spiking. To your liking, it was spiking, and that's what I'm talking about. So if you're on your way to work biking, you would think that you could transmute for a bicycle, like the power artifact. So the One Ring happened. That's what happened. The One Ring was printed, and now the transmute is so much better. Yeah, I mean, you can power up Grim Monolith and go infinite. You can power up all kinds of stuff, but this one just does it for me. Right? I wish I had to split. I bought a couple of copies of the power artifact thinking it's going to be the one. It's better. Right? It's so much better. In fact, it's both uncommon. These two blue uncommons, they're both 2 mana. Oh, well, what would I rather do? Anson Maddox on this art here, right? So what does it do for you? Well, it goes and gets the One Ring. Sacrifice an artifact. If you do, search your library for an artifact card that has converted mana cost less than or equal to the sacrifice artifact's converted mana cost plus put it into the battlefield. If it's greater, you may pay X, where X is the difference. If you do put it onto the battlefield, if you don't, put it into its owner's graveyard. Then shuffle your graveyard. No, shuffle your library. So pretty neat, right? You can go and tutor for the One Ring. You can pitch something that's on. You can tap a Soul Ring for 2 mana, and then you can sack it for a transmute 1, and then you got to pay 1 more, and you can go get the transmute artifact. Okay, it's pretty good. Or if your mana crypt's going to kill you, you can sack that, go get an artifact, tap it for 2, and pay 2 more. It's good. So transmute artifact, I don't have a disclaimer. Brody doesn't have a copy of this. Blue Artifacts is playing it in Legacy. It's also played in Commander. Of course, Vintage is going to want to play it in jewel shops. Anything that wants to play the One Ring, go and get your One Ring. It's so good to see. Have you seen the One Ring? It's so good to me. Protection from everything. Nothing can touch me. You can try to attack, but I'll hold you back. It's the One Ring. All right. I need a copy of the One Ring. I guess maybe Jank and D things. 200, $300. This is on my list of stuff to get. It's on the Christmas list, right? One day, Brody, got to get me some transmute artifact. All right. Tabernacle. Le tabernacle de discard, c'est on la liste. Ça fait la liste encore une fois. Encore une fois, c'est là dans la liste. Tabernacle called Penraville. This is an incredibly good land. In fact, you know, I had a dream last night. It just occurred to me. It did. I had a dream. And in that dream, do you know what I was doing? I was building a Commander Lands deck. I want to actually build. Now, this is the thing. I'm telling you right now. Brody's picks. Let's go to the front. I got to make this loud and clear for anybody here tuning into the show. And I'm going to say it here first. The cards that I am bullish on for 2024 is, say it with me, Grimono. No, Echoing Deeps. That's the card I want to buy. Echoing Deeps and Spelunking. Those two cards that were printed in the recent Ixalan set. I think so good. Okay, I am bullish as a mofo on Echoing Deep simply because it's a land. It copies any land in a graveyard, and it's like takes 12 posts and makes it a potential 16 posts. So what's better than 12 posts? 16 posts, right? You can play 8 Wastelands. You can play 8 copies of Urza Saga because it goes in the bin anyway. You can do all kinds of stuff with the Echoing Deeps. I think that card is great. And I'm grifting this card right now. I'm telling you, I'm buying this card. I am buying Echoing Deeps. I am buying Spelunking. Those two cards, I like them. They're $1. They're cheap. And I want a couple of copies of it. So I had this dream the other day, and I was like, actually, I think it was last night. It didn't occur to me until Tabernacle. I saw this card. So let's look at it. It's a land card. What if you made a Legendary Matters? I think there's something that is printed in the game that says the legendary rule doesn't apply to you, right? And that would be a great place to be. Yes, the legendary rule. If it doesn't apply to you, then you can have multiple copies of it. You can copy it with Vesuva. You can copy it with Echoing Deeps. You can copy it with Thespian Stage. So I want to find a way to make a lands legacy, or not legacy lands. I want to do commander lands because there's all of a sudden there's so many good lands out there. And this is a stacks piece. I think it would be great if I could make a commander lands deck. I was thinking for the commander, maybe Omnath would be a really cool card to put in there. But this card, super cool, $37.99. Expensive, bloody card. This would go in it. If there was any card to go in it, it would be this one. I would try and put some stacks piece. I would put some ghost quarters in there. I put some posts in there. I put some every good land that I could find. Then maybe some Omnath so I could run exploration, Spelunking, and put extra lands in the battlefield, some check lands, and I'd do all kinds of shenanigans. But this card, where's it played? In Vintage. It's also legal in Commander, and it's really powerful against creature-based decks. Here's the thing. Do you know what card? I misplayed a legendary land twice and had to sack one of my standard advanced recently. Damn! You know what? Mistakes were made, TCG dude. I've made plenty. Okay? You know why this card is more money than Gaia's Cradle? I'll tell you why it's more money than Gaia's Cradle, because it's better than Gaia's Cradle. It is better than Gaia's Cradle. You know what this card does to Gaia's Cradle? It beats Gaia's Cradle. That's why this card is so good. How is that? What are you talking about, Brody? Well, Gaia's Cradle adds a mana for each creature that you control, and this gives all creatures an upkeep of 1. So this it's like turns off the Gaia's Cradle. It's like, no, I'm gonna have to pay the 1. So for every creature you have, the Gaia's Cradle will make a mana, but this thing is gonna make sure that mana gets spent well on donations to the offering plate. This card is going to see definitely some play all the time in Legacy and in places where we're going to want to run it in Vintage, especially the Legacy. See, there's the Legacy Lands deck. Here's what I want to do. I want to build a Commander Lands deck. Someone may have already done it, and I'm looking for deck lists out there. So if any of you folks see a Commander Lands deck, I want to try it. I want to see who the commander is. I'm thinking probably Omnath. You can get this from TCG Card Kingdom for $3,800. Probably some copies available. Yeah, $2,500 for the Tabernacle on eBay. It's just fun to say. Tabernacle. 20 grand. BGS 7 Tabernacle. Legends MTG Tabernacle. We got all these copies, $2,700. Haha, oof. That legendary rule will get you. I know, it's you gotta find a way to use it in your favor, right? Here's a neat card, Force Field, right? Lose 1 life to an unblocked creature. I was playing this definitely in Shop's deck. It comes out turn 1 with a workshop. It's more tech to like not lose to your opponent who's playing like that Grizzle brand with double combat step. Like the people who are sneak and show and telling things out that are big and nasty and just gonna one club you. Clubber Lane trying to hit you with a Merit Lage token. Get the force field out and make him think about his swing, right? 3 mana, lose 1 down life to an unblocked creature. What else we got? Collector's Edition. $206. What else we got here? We got a possibility of the unlimited version at 600, the alpha 1500. When I think, okay, let's just take a look back. You don't have to buy this card, but I'm going to tell you the alternative. The alternative. All right, you want some alternatives to this card? There was 2 cards that were printed in artifacts generally to kind of do the same thing. There was this one, the Jade Monolith, and there was the Force Field. Jade Monolith is not good. Force Field is very good, very spicy. It goes in every pot of soup. It's very nice and make you lose only 1 life from a unblocked creature. Now, the Jade Monolith, this was 4. You're like, oh, it's 4 mana. It's got to be better. Pay 1, the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature this turn, instead that source deals damage to you instead. So this is a reverse of Force Field. It's like if something hits your creature, then it does it to you instead. But there's a card that works really well with Jade Monolith. Yeah. Excuse me. And it will be found in this deck here. Japa du Mal. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent. All right? And then there's also a really cool creature that every time he takes damage, or you get a night token. Dranith Magistrate? Nope. Where are we here? Omik, Thalia, Angel of Jubilation, Keeper of the Accord, Loxodon, say it with me now. All right, I think it's Jareth. Jareth? Hey, DJ, nice to see you here this morning. So the force field's kind of bad, but if there ever is some good interaction that's played with the Jade Monolith, it's a card that's going to be molto bene. It's going to be very good. But the force field, unfortunately, until that happens, we get some more synergy with the Jade Monolith. Let's look back. I mean, we could look at the Jade Monolith again, but it actually had some price action here. All right, last card on the list. I don't know if there's worth even bringing this up. Wall of Swords. All right. Have your sword ready. Let's check this out. We got the 3/5 Flying Wall for 1 white and 3. This is played in old school. It's a very good blocker, okay? 3/5, can't attack, but it is an uncommon, and it's a sword. It's got some great Martitan art on it. I like the Wall of Swords. This alpha version, uncommon, limited edition, worth $200. Plenty of other cheaper versions out here. If you want to play old school, get yourself a revised copy. That's all I can say. Oh my God, look at that. Is it that time already? Yes, it is. Well, thank you, folks. I want to thank each and every one of you. Amazing, fine folks and fantastic people, fans and lovely folks who love the game as much as we do. Thanks again for tuning in. It's Brody Alfonso, when we're here to bump up the views and get the channel growing to that 500 subscriber mark. That's where that's where we're headed. 500. That's a good number. Yep, for now. I've got the 348 world's greatest subscribers, and I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Do you like Magic the Gathering comedy, jokes, fun stuff in the morning? Join me. I'll track them for you. You can join in the discussion. I want to hear from you out there. It's double Long John's Day, minus 35. Stay warm out there, bundle up, and take care. Talk to you all again soon. Now for a little sweet jazz flute. That sweet, sweet jazz flute. Fun. Oh, Burgundy would be so proud. It's not here.